Cinco de Mayo, which means May 5th in Spanish, is marketed in the United States as a fun holiday for drinking and eating tacos and other Mexican foods. But the origins of Cinco de Mayo are linked to California Latinos who saw a battle in Mexico against France in 1862 as a victory for abolishing slavery during the U.S. Civil War of 1861 and 1865. Now, some people mistakenly think that Cinco de Mayo is celebrating Mexico's independence from Spain, which is celebrated September 16th because they declared their independence from Spain in 1810. It's also not celebrating the Mexican Revolution, which is celebrated on November 20th, and the Mexican Revolution began in 1910. There are approximately 2.5 million Afro-Mexicans in Mexico today. And during the transatlantic slave trade, approximately 200,000 enslaved Africans were taken into what is now Mexico between the 1520s and 1829, when slavery was officially abolished in Mexico by the second president of Mexico named Vicente Guerrero, who was Afro-Latino and a former slave himself. I'm historian and national political commentator Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network. Let's break down this history. So when we talk about Cinco de Mayo and the anti-slavery movement, did you know that the Mexican victory over the French army during what's known as the Battle of Puebla, May 5th, 1862, may have prevented French Emperor Napoleon III from helping the Confederate Army in giving victory to the Confederate Army during the U.S. Civil War. Now, during the French-Mexican War of 1861 to 1867, an outnumbered Mexican army defeats a powerful invading force at Puebla in Mexico. The retreat of the French troops at the Battle of Puebla represented a great moral victory for the people of Mexico, symbolizing the country's ability to defend its sovereignty against a powerful foreign nation. Well, why is France fighting against Mexico? Now, keep in mind that Mexico won their independence from Spain in 1810, and Mexico was conquered by Spain by Hernan Cortez, the conquistador, in 1521. The lead up to the battle began in 1860, when the Mexican government was bankrupt after decades of internal conflict, and the Mexican government announced that it was suspending debt payments to its European creditors for 2 years. Spain, the United Kingdom, and France did not like the delay and sent over joint forces in 1861 to collect on Mexico's debt. Spain and the United Kingdom ended up cutting deals with French Emperor Napoleon III, who was a nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte, the ruler, the dictator Napoleon, who conquered Egypt in 1798. Now, Napoleon III had other plans, however. Emperor Napoleon III figured if he could get his hands on Mexico, it could become the first colony in a new French stronghold in North America. Now, keep in mind, because of the Haitian Revolution beginning in 1791, back then, Napoleon Bonaparte, his uncle, sold 828,000 square miles of land in what's known as the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 to the United States. President Abraham Lincoln, at this time in 1861, was busy fighting the U.S. Civil War. So the Americans would not stand in Napoleon III's way. Even better, with a French puppet government installed in Mexico City, Emperor Napoleon III could provide guns to the Confederacy, the Confederate States of America, to the South. He could provide guns to the Confederacy during the Civil War in exchange for southern cotton, which was a scarce commodity in Europe thanks to the Union shipping blockades that President Abraham Lincoln puts in place during the U.S. Civil War. The Confederacy was able to use cotton as a bartering tool to fund the purchase of weapons, ammunition, and ships from British manufacturers. Now, this is very interesting because the U.S. came about during the American Revolution, 1775 to 1783, fighting against King George III of England. And here you have Great Britain, who did not officially abolish slavery until 1833. Here you have them engaging in commerce with the Confederacy, with the southern states, the Confederate States of America, who seceded from the Union starting December 20th, 1860, with South Carolina becoming the first state to secede from the Union, so they could maintain slavery. Now, the transport of the armaments to the Confederacy was made possible by the lucrative cotton trade that tempted blockade runners to pierce the Union blockade for potential profits of 300% to 500% per voyage. U.S. President Abraham Lincoln had declared a naval blockade on the Confederacy in April of 1861 to prevent its shipments of cotton to European powers. The blockade covered the seaports along the southern Atlantic coast, below Washington, D.C., and extended along the Gulf Coast to the Mexican border. In early 1862, well-trained French forces of about 6,000 troops under the confident command of General Charles de Lorenzo marched from the port city of Veracruz, Mexico, with the aim of capturing Mexico City. But on May 5th, 1862, the French took a surprise beating at Puebla, the city Puebla, and this is known as the Battle of Puebla. They took a beating at Puebla at the hands of Mexican General Ignacio Zaragoza and a ragtag group of enlisted and volunteer troops that numbered between 2,000 to 5,000. So the Mexican troops are outnumbered, but they're going to defeat the French troops at what's known as the Battle of Puebla on May 5th, 1862. The French army is going to retreat to Veracruz, and they would not return to take Puebla until a full year later in May of 1863. And it's because of this victory over the French army on May 5th, 1862, this is why people started celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Now, Cinco de Mayo is more popular in the United States than it is in Mexico. Some people contend that the year-long delay of the French invasion gave Abraham Lincoln's generals just enough time to win decisive Union victories before Napoleon III could provide upgraded artillery and ammunitions to the Confederacy. Quote, by the time the French occupied Mexico City in June of 1863, the Battle of Vicksburg was already underway, end quote, says Eric Rojo, who is a retired U.S. Army colonel and commander-in-chief of the Military Order of the Loyal Legion of the United States. He points out that the Battle of Gettysburg during the Civil War was about to begin, and that Union victories were, quote, signaling the beginning of the end quote, for the Confederacy. He goes on to say, even if French were able to set their supply lines by mid-1863, it would have made very little difference in the outcome of the Civil War. Now, the critical timing of the French defeat at the First Battle of Puebla, May 5th, 1862, was not lost on Mexican Americans and other Latinos living in California, many of whom who had flocked to the state of California during the gold rush of 1849. Now, keep in mind, California used to be part of Mexico, and as a result of the Mexican-American War of 1846 to 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo of 1848 is what ends that war, and as a result of that treaty, the U.S. is going to get the area that makes up California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Nevada, and they get all of this area from Mexico. California is going to become a state in the Union in 1850. Okay. Now, David Hayes Bautista, director of the Center for the Study of Latino Health and Culture at the UCLA School of Medicine, was doing research on 19th century Spanish-speaking California newspapers. He was doing research in 19th century Spanish-speaking California newspapers when he found news reports of the very first celebrations of Cinco de Mayo as early as 1862. Some of the first Cinco de Mayo celebrations are going to take place among Latinos in California. David Hayes Bautista goes on to say that California Latinos were ardent Union supporters of the Union during the Civil War. When their home countries won independence from Spain, they had unilaterally abolished slavery and established citizenship for non-whites. Now, these Latinos are living in California, which was a free state, and California came into the Union in 1850 as a free state, and that's because of what's known as the Compromise of 1850. And they saw the pro-slavery Confederacy as an existential threat. Now, when reports reached Los Angeles, California, of General Ignacio Zaragoza's victory against the French, Latinos in California made the Civil War connection immediately. David Hayes Bautista says, quote, in 1862, things weren't going well for the Union in the Civil War, but here in Puebla was a clear-cut victory that completely threw the French timetable off. The news reports just electrified Latinos and jolted them. The news reports just electrified Latinos and jolted them to a whole new level of organization and activity, end quote. So this is some background history on why Cinco de Mayo is celebrated. Now, many people today don't know the history that I just laid out to you and don't understand that there are 2.5 million Afro-Mexicans that are in Mexico today and really understand this background history. Now, for more information, read the articles that I have listed here in the notes here on this video, including one from history.com called How Cinco de Mayo Helped Prevent a Confederate Victory in the Civil War. The other articles from Axios.com and Ebony Magazine that I cite as well. I'm historian and national political commentator Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network. Follow me on Facebook and fan base at the African History Network, on YouTube and Instagram at Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Register for my online history classes on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can support us through Cash App, PayPal.me/the AHN show, and you can support. Visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and register for the online history classes that I teach on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet is one of the original names for Egypt. You can support the African History Network also through Cash App, $the AHN show through Cash App, and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. We have that information right on the homepage of my website. And watch me on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when I appear as a panelist on Roland Martin Unfiltered, providing historical and political analysis. I've been on Roland Martin Unfiltered for 5 years now. Download the Black Star app and follow Roland on YouTube and Facebook. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Be sure to register for my new online history course. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. This class is on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to start Saturday, August 6th, 2025. Go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and scroll down. This is African empires, the Moors, and the transatlantic slave trade, 5000 BC to 1800 AD. This is a 10-week online course. We're actually going to start on Saturday, September 6th. Click right here to register. Classes on sale, $80. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. And one of the things we'll talk about are various African empires, whether we talk about ancient Nubia or the Kush Empire, ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, Great Zimbabwe, Carthage, the Nok culture. We're going Meroe, Axum. We're going through and looking at history, thousands of years of history, various African empires, and then also we'll deal with the transatlantic slave trade and how it evolved. So we'll look at history from 5000 BC through 1800 AD. You'll get 5 of my lectures in digital download format free with this. And then also be sure to download our class lesson plan here as well. Click on the download button to download our class lesson plan. And visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Our social media handles are here as well. And you can email me through the website. Just click on contact the African History Network. So this class is PG-13. You can use this content with your children. Also, I don't do a lot of cursing or anything like that. It's very visual. There are 80 to 100 articles that we reference in the class. I show you the articles on the screen. The 15 books that we reference. You don't have to buy any of the books. We show you the books we show you the pages of the books on the screen as well. And there are 200 slides in the class also. Okay. So I have a PowerPoint presentation. There are video clips that we show, excerpts of interviews I've done with some of our historians. I've been teaching this class on and off since 2017. So it has evolved immensely since then. Also, you can support the African History Network through PayPal and Cash App. We have the information right on the homepage of my website. If you scroll down, $ the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. This is our Cash App. Tag $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say Michael and show my picture there. Okay, these are some fake African History Network Cash App accounts that have been stealing money from us. And I put our tag right here. Here's our link to our Cash App, QR code. Okay, so you can support us there if you want to donate support us $5, $10, $15, $25, $50, $100, whatever it is. It definitely helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, pay some of the bills, and broadcast the Sunday night show also. And here's our link for PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Okay. All right. So look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. What kind of